I decided, yeah, man, this was terrible. I'm never doing this again. HU, something that I wanted for like so long. But then I can't submit the next secondary because I gotta pay rent this month. So I know like my biggest mistake with taking the MCAT the first time was just staying on content just way too long. I'm going to med school. Woo!
Hi, everyone. Long time no
Hello,
see. I'm Simone,
and I'm Jaden,
and
and
we
we
are
are Healers with You.
Healers with You. So we're gonna do Jaden's How I Got Into Medical School video, woo, which I'm so excited about.
Yeah, the last one we did for Simone was like a year ago, so now it's
It's time
uh,
to run it back. So I'm really excited. So one thing that's different about my cycle compared to your cycle is that like you were kind of there for most of my cycle. So like when we did
yeah,
you kind of had the answers, but I don't
yeah.
know those answers because I wasn't there. I was all the way over here. So I'm really excited to get these answers for myself. Um,
Yes, let's get to it. Hello, for all of you that don't know me yet. Hi, my name is Jaden. I am now going to be starting as a first year medical student in about a month from now, about a month from like the recording of this video. So by the time that you guys see it, I will probably will already be in med school, which is crazy to say. This is something that I've wanted for like so long, and now I'm finally here. It feels good. It feels like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders, and I'm excited to share my journey with you all, tell you about like how I got to this point, and then also just share like the things I've learned, mistakes I've made, things that you can hopefully don't make the same mistakes I did, but you can still get here along your own path. But yeah.
awesome. Okay, so can you talk a little bit about why medicine? Why did you choose to, go along this path?
Yes. Okay. So I spent a lot of time in and out of the hospital as like when I was very young, just through my own illnesses like asthma and stuff like that, and also just like other family members' illnesses. I had multiple family members diagnosed with cancer, and from a young age, dealing with like their treatment in the hospital. First thing I wanted to do when people ask, "Oh, what do you want to be when you grow up?" I always say, "I want to be a superhero," you know. But obviously there aren't real superheroes. But the closest thing, at least to me, that I saw in my day to day is being around the hospital so much was the doctors. But I never saw any doctors like me. And so that's why I said, yeah, like I want to be a doctor. And that was like in elementary school, I decided that. Then I ended up going to like a medical middle school and then a medical high school, getting experience actually like getting the shadow doctors, doing dissections, learning about human anatomy and all of that. And it just deepened my love for medicine and just all the different aspects of it. I just want to learn it all, learn as much as possible. I just love to learn. And so, yeah, I decided, yeah, continue down this path. And here I am now today, about
Yay!
to start. About to start. It's
I'm so
crazy.
excited, so exciting. Okay, so you got us to high school. What were the things that you did in college? Tell us a little bit about your college experience, and then what were the things that you did in college that you think prepared you maybe for medical school and then also prepared you for your application?
I don't even know how I can talk and prepare me for medical school because I haven't even had my first class
You're
yet.
like, I'll
So
see. I'll let
am
you
I
know.
prepared? Well, I'll let you know in the next video. But
Right.
what I did for my application is, I don't know. I feel like a lot of students want to like check off all the boxes, right? But I feel like more than just doing things to check off the boxes, you should have a reason why you're doing everything you're doing. And then at the end of the day, your whole application should tell a story of like who you are and why you want to pursue medicine. I just so happen to do a lot of like study abroad opportunities, especially things dealing with medicine. So I weave that into my applications. It impacted me. I talked about like why I changed the way I want to practice medicine and stuff like that. I took leadership positions as all future doctors should, just because you're going to be the leader of a healthcare team. So med schools want to know that yes, you can lead a team. What else? I would say yes. Also, a big thing is having like clinical experience. I didn't have too much clinical experience during my 4 years of undergrad, but that was mostly because I had so much clinical experience beforehand that I wasn't just seeking out those opportunities, and then also because of COVID, those opportunities were already limited. So then after for my gap year, that's when I decided to work as a medical scribe, which I've been doing for the past year, and that has been an experience I've loved and enjoyed. And I've actually talked about that in another video that should already be up or be up after this video, but you can subscribe for more of that story as well. But
Shameless
yeah.
plug. I love to see. While we're like kind of in the vein of undergrad, you took your MCAT in undergrad. Tell
Yes.
us a little bit about it. What would you do the same? What would you do different?
Yes. Okay. So I took the MCAT one time and I got a 506. I wanted to take it again, but I waited. So I took the MCAT in the summer of my junior year, and I took it then because I already decided I was going to take a gap year. I would suggest if you're going to take it earlier, then probably take it in your like sophomore year, the summer of your sophomore year, so you can do it then. Yeah, so I decided to take a gap year, took it the summer of my junior year, and then leading up to my MCAT, I decided, yeah, man, this was terrible. I'm never doing this again. This is a one and done. And so after I got my score back, which was a 506, I was like, okay, I'm okay with this. And then I was like, I don't know, but I feel like I can do so much better. I know like my biggest mistake with taking the MCAT the first time was just staying on content just way too long and not transitioning to like practice questions soon enough. Because once you're past 500, you should probably already just be drilling as much practice questions as possible. And almost up until test day, I was still just doing too much content rather than doing practice. And so the second time around, I was decided I was going to take the MCAT again, but the timing was really short because I decided I was going to start trying to take it again while I was already started applying. And so that kind of pushed back my application date just because I was taking longer to write everything and studying at the same time. But I knew what I was doing. I saw my scores increasing, but I was like, I think I have to stop. I don't think I have enough time to dedicate to studying and to also getting my application done. So
And
for all of you that may be applying now, one of my biggest like things would say just try to get your application in as early as possible and don't try to take the MCAT and study for, or don't try to study for the MCAT and apply at the same time. That was probably one of the biggest mistakes with my application.
that's so real. That's so real, especially what you said about content. I feel like if you know me, if you've ever asked for any advice about the MCAT from me, I have said, don't stay on content for too long. And the reason I say that is the exact same reason that you said. I did that. That was a mistake that I made. So,
We
like,
were studying together, so it was
exactly.
like,
We were studying. We were both making the same mistake at the same time together. So if you hear me say that, it's not me judging you. It's me
no, it's
saying
not
it's
a
just
judgment at all. I made that mistake, and I don't want you to make the
it's
same
like
mistake.
please don't do the same thing again. So if you ever hear that from me, that's where that's coming from. So next we can talk a little bit more back on, extracurriculars. Like what were your big three? You get 10, how many? 15?
Get 15
Okay.
spaces on the AMCAS to put in all of your activities, and you get three for you have like extra space to talk about. And for my big three, I would suggest for everybody to pick one that is a clinical experience, and then probably one that's like a research experience if it was impactful to you. So yeah, I had one experience where I studied abroad in Mexico for a month and did clinical rotations in some of the clinics that they had there. And then I had a leadership experience. I was the academic coordinator and executive director of Men of the Mecca Initiative, a men's resource at Howard University. I can talk a little bit more about that. HU, you know. And then I had my research experience at the NIH, which was research that was for my honors thesis in college. But yes.
Awesome. Awesome. And so what do you think it was like for some people who are wondering like, okay, what is it that makes it impactful experience the most impactful? Because you have all these experiences, you have 15 to choose from. What made those three kind of stand out as impactful or your most impactful experiences?
Yeah. I would say for me, like part of it is just like, okay, like, was it impactful for you? Like, did you feel like it made a difference in your application? It has to be something that you feel like I need more space to talk about because you're going to have more space to talk about it. So you shouldn't pick something that you can't actually talk at length about for your most meaningful experience. That's just the name of the game, you know? But for me in particular, I would say have a good bit that like talks about, because you get like two separate sections for it. I would say one of the first sections should be like, okay, just explaining what the role was, what was the accomplishments of it. And the second part can be more of a narrative of like a specific moment or a specific like thing that happened during that activity that directly impacted you. And that's how I wrote about it for each of my three things. For my clinical experience, I talked about speaking Spanish to one of the patients, and it wasn't even like a lot of Spanish. It was just like, "Hey, I like your shoes," and it like allowed them to feel more comfortable in the patient room. And I talked about that experience. I talked about being in a leadership role and seeing like the other brothers around me grow over time and how impactful that was. And then for my research experience, yes, I talked about what the research was, but why it was impactful for it to me was also more so that it was a leadership position for me where I was basically running the lab. I helped build up the lab. I had a couple mentors under me, mentees under me that I was helping learn everything and stuff like that. I had my own project. So that was something that I talked about in my most meaningful experience. And I chose those three for my most meaningful experiences.
Awesome. Kind of jumping more into your application, can you take us a little bit through the timeline? When did you start kind of preparing your materials, preparing your application, and then when did you hit submit? When did you turn in your secondary, stuff like that?
Yes. Again, I feel like this is one of like the mistakes I made in my application. Is just I feel like I wish I was more prepared financially for my application because I feel like was the layer of my application. I wanted to apply, the first day that the application opens, like I said I was going to, but then when it came down to applying, I was like, okay, I have this many schools. First, I was taking my MCAT again for the second time. And since the schools don't get the score, or they won't process your application until after the MCAT is done, it's like, okay, well, I wasn't rushing to finish my application because I was still studying. I was like, they won't see it again anyway. And then I ended up not taking it. So I think I ended up submitting my application maybe like mid-July, I think. Like early to mid-July is when I like submitted my primary application. Then getting like the secondaries back, the layer of that was more so like the financial portion where it's like, okay, I submit this secondary because the due date's up, but then I can't submit the next secondary because I got to pay rent this month. So then it was like, okay, I'll put some money to the side and then pay it the next month. So I wish I had laid out my like financial budget for my application, which for FYI, my application as a whole was about like $3,000. So it's hefty. It's hefty. So I would say, and I applied to 20 schools. The original goal was to apply to 20 schools. I think I only submitted secondaries I only submitted secondaries for 14.
And did you apply to any Texas schools?
Yes, I applied to half and half, 7 Texas schools and 7 out of state. So some of them were through TIMDAS, which helped to lower the cost a little bit because you don't have to pay for each individual school. It's just a general application. But yeah, it was a lot.
I was gonna say, when would you say you finished all your secondaries?
I finished all my secondaries by early December, late, like maybe like November 30th, somewhere around there. Yeah.
And then what's next? When did you start getting interview requests? How many interview requests did you get? What did that look like?
I started my first interview request was actually in November. I had my first interview. It was like, no, maybe it was like before that. Maybe my first interview, because I had my first interview right before Thanksgiving. So it was like maybe like I think it was like the weekend before that. So it was pretty much right before Thanksgiving is when I had my first interview. And I had my second interview. It took just because of how delayed my application was. It wasn't until like January. January. And so I had my like second interview. So November to January, it was like a couple months in between where I had my second interview.
And were you freaking out?
Yes, because after having my first interview, I didn't hear back from that school until when did I hear back? Let me see. So the first school I interviewed for was
comments.
I interviewed them in November, interviewed with them in like late November. Didn't hear back from them until March. So I was already thinking like, man, I'm gonna have to start applying again. I was thinking
that's real.
Like, I knew again, like my biggest thing is I was gonna take the MCAT again. I think I was gonna take an extra 2 years. I was getting ready to do a master's or something. And then I heard back and I was like, oh shit, I'm going to med school, which is crazy. And I heard back from that first school in March, and that is when I also around the time that I interviewed for the second school. So it was just like, oh, it was just a lot going on at the same time. But it was like a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Like, yes, I'm actually going to med school. So
Exactly.
that felt great.
At that point, it's like, okay, like maybe I go somewhere else, maybe, but hey, at this point, it's the matter of options.
Yeah, it's a matter of
But
options.
it
Like,
doesn't even
whoa,
matter. It doesn't, I'm going to,
I
I
am
remember that feeling
going.
distinctly of like, woo, all right, let's go to class. Like, what is life? What does it matter? Does it
That's great.
so yeah, that's so awesome. Awesome, awesome. So application wise, what were your metrics looking like? We talked about MCAT, but what about like GPA, coursework, things like that? What did you study? All of this.
Yeah. So I graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Biology from the illustrious Howard University, and I minored in chemistry. I would say I took all the general pre-med classes. I feel like biology is like the standard like pre-med major at Howard. Like anyone, most of the people who are pre-med are probably biology majors, and it sets you up well to take all of the prereqs for that. So that's what I did. Specific coursework that I feel like helps me.
Oh yeah.
I took Biochem 2, which I know wasn't a
Mm.
requirement, but it's recommended, and I personally recommend it just because a lot of what is on the MCAT isn't actually the Biochem 1. Biochem 1 is like the foundation of biochemistry, while Biochem 2 is like the application and like the pathways. And so I feel like taking Biochem 2, especially with the professor I had, open to deepen my understanding of it. So it made biochem section of it like so much easier. That was one of my like highest sections from the jump.
And
So I would say definitely that.
I can also say that taking Biochem 2 is helpful for med school because that, for at least for me at Morehouse, that is the first like couple months. It's biochemistry. So, if I could go back, maybe I would have taken Biochem 2.
And then I would say just for like all of your classes, like especially like pre-med classes, I would stress trying to like learn the information, actually get like a foundation in the information, and not just try to pass the class. I would say that was one of the best things that I did just going through my classes. It's like I genuinely cared about like learning the information, and that helped me to like score like pretty well on my like diagnostic. Where it was like I probably should have my diagnostic was good enough where I should have just started focusing on questions and drilling from there. But I was on content for too long, like I said. But yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So you talked a little bit at the beginning about how your whole application should tell a story, and we say that all the time. What do you think, looking back on your application, what do you think the story that you told was?
Yeah, I feel like it told a story of like wanting to serve the underserved, especially, coming from a disadvantaged background. I can relate to a wide variety of people. I feel like the story that I really like focus on my application, like I am a doctor who wants to be able to relate to all of his patients, meet them on their level, talk to them, give them their standard of care, regardless of who the person is, regardless of race, gender, nationality. I think I focused a lot on like global medicine just because of the amount of global experiences I had studying healthcare disparities in Colombia or just doing the clinical rotations in Mexico. I feel like those things helped to put my application together. Like this is a person who cares about a wide variety of people and who wants to be able to relate to those people. I feel like that was the main thing that I was trying to show through my application is like that's who I want to be as a doctor.
Awesome.
And the big thing that I talked about is fighting the stigma against medicine, especially for these underserved populations that they already don't want to see the doctor. Having a very community-driven focus. Having a relationship with my patients so they can feel comfortable coming to the doctor.
Awesome. 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 So you talked about your application, talked about undergrad, and you mentioned that you're moving in a month.
We'll be moving in a month.
You will be moving in a month. Maybe you didn't mention that. Maybe you said you would start medical school in a month. Who knows? All I want to know is where are you going, Jaden?
I will be attending Meharry Medical College School of Medicine. Woo! So you guys will hear from my like moving vlog hopefully soon, and my first day, my orientation. I'll get a vlog of all that. But yes, I will be moving to Nashville, Tennessee in
Yeah,
a month.
in a month. I'm
That
so
is
excited
crazy.
for you. You know, you'll be closer to me.
Oh yeah, very exciting.
We'll be driving distance.
Oh yeah.
Like 4 hours, I think. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just here. I'm so excited. Are you excited? Are you as
I
excited as
am.
I
I'm so excited. I have so much I need to do in this last month to get it ready, but I'm excited. I'm ready to start,
am?
having yeah.
Yes, this is the moment. This is like soak it all in. Like you've made it. You've made it. We know that the percentage of people who graduate medical school is quite high. Like once you start, and
Yeah.
guess what? You've made it past
I'm
the
in.
starting
So in
line.
4 years, like
In 4 years, we'll be posting a graduation vlog. We'll be
that
posting our
is
match
crazy.
vlog.
That is
I'm so
crazy.
excited for you.
Thank
I'm so
you. Thank
excited.
you.
Like it's radiating off me. I'm shaking.
Yes.
Um, I think that's really all I had for you today. This was great. Yes, Jaden, we are so excited for you. Yes, this excited. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching
Yes, thank
Jaden's How
you.
I Got Into Med School blog. Please like, comment, subscribe, comment down
Yes. Any
below.
questions for an incoming med student? Any questions about my journey? Any questions about Simone? Simone already has her how she got into med school video up, and she already has a vlog about her med school experience. So check out Simone's story as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, if you guys had any questions about the application process, I know we threw a bunch of words out there like AMCAS, secondaries, all of that. We've got a video on that too, and we will make sure to pin it down below.
Yes. And
But
if you have any questions for us, is like if you want to answer the questions again, we just put it down below, and we'll be sure to reach out to y'all.
yes, thank you. Please comment all the things. But until next time, bye.